Hello and welcome to the channel. Today we're going over Lynnewood Hall. Lynnewood Hall is a 110-room neoclassical revival mansion in Elkins Park, Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. Currently undergoing renovations after sitting nearly vacant for years. It was designed by architect Horace Trumbauer for industrialist Peter A. B. Widener and built between 1897 and 1900. Considered the largest surviving Gilded Age mansion in the Philadelphia area, it housed one of the most important Gilded Age private art collections of European masterpieces and decorative arts, which had been assembled by Widener and his younger son Joseph E. Widener. Peter Widener died at Lynwood Hall at the age of 80 on November 6, 1915, after prolonged poor health. He was predeceased by his elder son George Dunton Widener and his grandson Harry Elkins Widener, both of whom died when RMS Titanic sank in 1912. The structure changed hands a few times over the subsequent decades, with large portions of the estate grounds sold off in the 1940s, and has been predominantly vacant since 1952. When it was purchased by a theological seminary that started selling off the interior detailing. It is presently being renovated by the Lynwood Hall Preservation Foundation, which announced a purchase agreement for the estate in February 2023. The description. Built from Indiana limestone, the T-shaped Lynwood Hall, dubbed the last of the American Versailles by Widener's grandson, measures 325 feet or 99 meters long by 215 feet or 66 meters deep. In addition to the 55 bedrooms, the 110-room mansion had a large art gallery, a ballroom large enough for 1,000 guests, a swimming pool, wine cellars, a farm, carpentry and upholstery studios, and an electrical power plant. A 2014 Philadelphia Inquirer article described the mansion as dripping with silk, velvet, and gilded moldings, the rooms furnished with chairs from Louis XV's palace, Persian rugs, and Chinese pottery. The halls crammed with art by Raphael, Rembrandt, El Greco, Van Dyck, Donatello. Time magazine published an account of a lavish party held at Lynwood Hall in 1932. Art collection. From 1915 to 1940, the spectacular art collection at Lynwood Hall was open to the public by appointment between June and October. In 1940, Joseph E. Widener donated more than 2,000 sculptures, paintings, decorative artworks, and porcelains to the National Gallery of Art. P.A.B. Widener had originally planned for the collection to go to the Philadelphia Museum of Art. The paintings included Raphael's Small Cowper Madonna, Bellini's The Feast of the Gods, 8 Van Dycks, 2 Vermeers, 14 Rembrandts, and a series of portraits by Gainsborough and Reynolds. The sculptures included Donatello's David and Desiderio de Settignano's St. John the Baptist. Lynwood Hall, after Widener ownership. The grounds were used for training military dogs during World War II, and parcels of the land outside the property fence were sold to others after 1943. Lynwood Hall was purchased in 1952 by Faith Theological Seminary, a Christian school of higher education headed by Carl McIntyre. The purchase price was $192,000, equivalent to $1.96 million in 2021. The seminary trained hundreds of ministers and Christian leaders at Lynwood Hall for over 40 years. Near the end of that time, some of the interior detailing, such as mantels, walnut paneling, and a landscape ornamentation, was sold off in order to raise funds. This is evidenced by the 2006 auction of a French bronze Figuenot fountain, one of only 2 major surviving Henry Leon Gerber commissions in America, originally installed at Lynwood Hall. Lynwood Hall was added to the Preservation Alliance for Greater Philadelphia's 2003 list for most endangered historic properties and is eligible for the National Register of Historic Places. It is cited in Cheltenham's Township's Comprehensive Plan as one of the township's cultural and historical resources, and in the township's Open Space Plan as a priority for preservation, warranting a conservation easement. The seminary and property was eventually foreclosed upon by the second mortgagee, reportedly a one-time follower of McIntyre. There have been negotiations ongoing of the new ownership and possible renovations to the estate. Parties had hoped to have a plan finalized by the end of 2011. The proposed renovation could take the estate back to the private residence and offer guest rooms to social elite and that of high society bed and breakfast. Ongoing searches for previous pieces of the estate that belonged to Lynnewood Hall have been undertaken, and the total cost of renovations to be determined by the buyer. In a state court decision handed down in February 2012 by Judge Norma L. Shapiro, the court ruled the First Korean Church of New York Incorporated did not qualify for tax exemption. In a rare interview with the Philadelphia Inquirer after this court ruling with Dr. Richard S. Yoon, video cameras were permitted inside Lynwood Hall and the original seminary chapel. Dr. Yoon stated, "We have no choice but to relocate. We don't want to fight anymore." The mansion's ground, bordered by Ashbourne Road, Spring Avenue and Cedar Lane, are surrounded by the original wrought iron fencing and gates with stone base and pillars, in marked contrast to that of nearby Trumbull contemporary White Marsh Hall, whose similar fencing, which encompassed a much greater acreage, was sacrificed for wartime scrap and rapid post-war development. A gatehouse and other staff outbuilding of the same materials as Linwood also still exist within the fence. The property within the fence has remained contiguous, never having been subdivided. This property was on the market for $11 million in May of 2019. Despite multiple offers above the asking price, the home remains unsold. A historical restoration architect estimated in 2014 that it would take about $50 million to restore the mansion to its former glory. However, realtor Frank Johnson suggests the property could be renovated for $3 million to $8 million. On July the 5th, 2022, it was announced that an organization, the Linwood Hall Preservation Foundation, was established with the goal of acquiring the Trumbull-designed Widener family estate, a true architectural masterpiece, and see it restored to its former breathtaking glory. On February 8, 2023, a purchase agreement was announced for the property by the foundation, with plans for the restored gardens to be open to the public as a park and to fully restore the hall. Thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to hit the like button and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and YouTube will let you know as soon as the next video is released. Take care and stay safe.